Alright, old style walk and talk video. Been a little while. Response video to Holiday. Yeah, I probably should play clips, but what the hell. So I'll try to remember his basic arguments. One of them seems, I don't know, well, whatever. I'll explain. I guess his argument is something like, I'm claiming there's this rudimentary thing causing the creation of value, which is called the welfare of some feeling thing. Feeling things go ooh and they go ouch, and depending on which one they're doing, they're in a state that's either good or bad, and that we can measure these things against each other and whatnot, and that there's a certain truth to this measurement. You try to get it right. His argument is that that's fine, but let's just let the human beings decide, and let them decide when the thing is worthy of a concern or unworthy of a concern. And let's use this lowest common denominator scale. What do most people believe? What do the most selfish people believe? What's convenient for us to believe? So basically he's saying, instead of just looking at the rape, analyze the rape, say, what are we as detectives here? What would happen? Well, there's blood and there's hair and all kinds of dirty stuff, and rape, not good. A bad thing happened. Let's go find the bad guy and smush him. Or we can wait and go ask Vicky. We can ask a bunch of witnesses. Let's go ask the witnesses what they saw, and or what they think. And they'll say she asked for it, stupid cunt, or some kind of bullshit. And I should pay attention to that shit. No, I'll just look at the facts, okay? I'll look at the fucking planet I'm on. I really don't need the other humans' opinions. And I certainly don't, if they were edifying, they might be of some use. But I certainly don't need their opinions when they're based on their bigotry and their rationalizations and their desire to justify their own bad behavior. Look, a little poo. Yeah, a little poo. All by itself. Abandoned, alone. Anyway, see, people care about idiotic things. That's the whole problem. They anthropomorphize, and their values are shit. They value shit instead of valuing the stuff that matters, which is the feeling organisms. So I don't understand your argument. Why wouldn't I just settle for a hodgepodge of convenient, corrupt judges? And that's what basically the humans I'm claiming are. That they can't make an honest evaluation ever. You're always looking through it through your slanted and prejudiced perspective. Your subjective crap is polluting the truth. So yeah, get the subjective crap the fuck out. That's no good. Subjectivity bad, objectivity good. So I guess that's enough of that. Alright, now the obligation thing, he still doesn't quite get it. That somehow when you know, like, obviously ignorance is no excuse for some crimes, because they're just so obviously crimes somebody can't be that stupid kind of argument. And likewise, it goes the other way. You can't say you're intelligent, say you understand, especially about your own suffering and the efficiencies of your own life and your own need for comfort, your own need for it's almost like the aristos, in the olden times, thinking the poor people liked, their uncomfortable life or something. The homeless people like being homeless, or some kind of crap like that. You can't claim you're intelligent and then think idiotic, silly things. So if I'm intelligent and I say, I feel, feelings matter to me, I certainly don't like, X, Y, Z, you sort of have an obligation to, if all circumstances are equal, to assume other people don't like that either. I mean, if you don't like a telephone pole up your ass, it might be a good, rational, logical thing to do to say other people don't like it either. And so your value has to be consistent to consistent categories. So if you're going to argue to me that the human race does that, or human beings are willing to do that, to be consistent based on categories in terms of their evaluations, then we probably wouldn't have much of a problem. But I'm clearly making the accusation that no, traditional values have nothing to do with consistency across categories, and break duplicity and hypocrisy rules all over the place. So back to the intelligence thing. So if you know better, so let's go to a real world circumstance. Somebody goes into a coma, they're now in a vegetative state, and they're fundamentally brain dead. And it's time to decide whether to pull the plug. You don't have any record of their opinion. Say they never opined on the subject, you have no clue what they would want. Where the thing you're going to try to do is satisfy their wishes first, just as an expression to their dignity, is to let them speak first. So you don't have their actual voice, but you can deduce what they would say through other mechanisms, through other associated things they might have said about the economy of life or some other kind of thing. And you can put rational words in their mouth, or you can put irrational words in their mouth. So you could project them into a religious person when they weren't a religious person, or you could be more honest and say, what would they say if they were here? And I'm just saying that we can do that in obvious ways with animals. We know if they could speak English and cognize an expression, they would say, don't do that, it hurts. Stop it, please. They might even ask, they might even add a please. Thank you, I want no more. So let's not pretend we don't know what they would want in the absence of their consent, that they would not give their consent. If we had a real contract, they wouldn't sign it, and you know it. They wouldn't sign up to be a slave to your appetite. So now it's the only question, last question would be, why do we have an obligation to give them a contract? And I'm arguing that obviously that obligation comes out of the fact that they are sentient, that they are capable of experiencing the value entity. It expresses itself inside of them. So now we go to some metaphor of like diamonds or something. Let's say there's diamonds and gold nuggets. We could say that thoughts are gold and feelings are diamonds. So they're value entities. But only certain kinds of thoughts are real gold. There's fool's gold, which is stupid thoughts. And then the real gold, which is I have a cure for cancer. But the diamonds are kind of consistent. We can see that the feelings and emotions have been around a long time in evolution. There's no ancestral difference fundamentally. You can't use some claim that we're special. That special argument doesn't go anywhere when it comes to the argument of sensate organisms. They've been around a long time, and you don't have a better one than these other organisms. And I think it could be argued, quite rationally, that they in fact have the better one. that they have retained their diamonds, where we traded in some of our capacity to feel for the gold of being able to think. And that's why our senses are duller and less rich than the other mammals. And I think it can be reasonably argued that they are, in fact, their feeling experience is even more intense, both negative and positive. And therefore their diamonds are even more precious. And so even more need for a contract before you steal those diamonds. Kind of, in the metaphorical sense. Before you take the value of their welfare. But that's their entitlement. They've passed the only test that's relevant to our obligation, which is they can feel, and we can logically know that they wouldn't, if they were at all reasonable, at all consistent with any one of us, say, yeah, go ahead, shove a telephone pole up my ass so you can watch cartoons on TV. They wouldn't sanction their exploitation and abuse for the gold, of your silly perceptions of value, silly notions of accomplishment. So I think those are the three elements. I mean, you could go on forever, I suppose. Frankly, again, I can make a comparison to the physics argument, regarding his first element, where he's talking about why not just accept the human model of value. That's like accepting physics model of physics. In my opinion, the model they have is a long way. It's a strangled, perverse monster that isn't even close to the truth yet. And why would I accept something nowhere close to the truth if I was given the choice? And it could be understood that this is a simple mechanism, and it can be understood once you understand the simple parts. So again, my competing argument is a lot more visible, a lot more seeable as a reasonable theory than some model I might give of physics, because that's a lot more challenging. You need microscopes and shit, and you need accelerators and all kinds of other devices, and you need lots of math and theory, where in calculating your own existence on planet Earth, realizing that there are categories that things fit in, sentient, non-sentient, ancient life form, been around a long time, proven, versus newcomer. You got lots of categories. You can plop things in them very easily, and there's just no need for any strangled Christian artifactual ethics code. And that's really all you're defending, is some artifact of the need for a social contract because people believed in a God that didn't exist. And obviously their non-existent absolute truth made it impossible for them to have a rational model or theory, even though the truth was not complicated. It became complicated because there was no, they had ruined. I don't think those are her kids. I hope not. Kind of a hot chick's probably working as a slave, pushing babies around. Yuck. Anyway, so the saying something about models. Yeah. So you're defending a way of looking at value dissection that's an artifact of religion. It's an artifact of the bad science, okay, that basically said values what God says, and it's completely bigoted, homophobic, misogynist, and stupid. And let's rationalize a ethical code around that nonsense. When if people had been born into the world and just said, hey, this has got some interesting bits, but hell, we all die. There's all this suffering shit tied to it. Some people are born horribly deformed. There's all this animal shit. This is not a pleasure cruise. This is not necessarily a good time. And it would seem perfectly reasonable that you wouldn't just throw this on somebody and say, here, you're going to be one of us. It just doesn't make any sense because it's completely interpretatable as a fucking car wreck, as elephant diarrhea, as a catastrophe, not a majesty, not a miracle, just a pitiful catastrophe of kill or be killed, for what? To have the same old jolly that people have been chasing for billions of years. What's the point of that? No sale. Alright, that should do. So till the next time and such. So forth and whatnot.